All right, welcome to another episode of The More You Know. I'm so sorry that I couldn't upload last week. Last minute, my guest actually canceled on me, so I couldn't find a guest to fill his shoes, so I didn't want to just get someone random and pump out something really quick. But exciting news, I do have a website for this podcast now. It's called moreyouknowpodcast.com. So that will be the home of this podcast now. So if you want to check out all of the episodes, I did split them up in seasons now. Season one is going to be the year of 2020, and season two is now the year of 2021. So go on moreyouknowpodcast.com to check it all out. Subscribe to it, and you'll get notified every time that an episode comes out. Today's guest is Neha Patel, and I know her from college. She was my friend's little sister. And now, fast forward, now we are both old and both wiser, but she seems a little wiser than me. So she's here to talk about very important life lessons. I'll let her introduce herself. Neha, can you give a brief intro?
Yeah. Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me on. First of all, this is definitely out of my realm, but it's something I thought would be really exciting to do. My name is Neha. I'm a first year in a master's program at Michigan State, where I also did my undergrad in psychology, and I'm pursuing my master's in human resources. Brian and I do know each other from way back in college, like my freshman year. So it's been quite a while.
I know that when I first put out the request for someone to guest on my podcast, you responded with just like a really wise topic of
Yeah.
life, of just like about life moving fast. And it really
Right.
resonated with me because it really brought me back to when I first left college into the real world. Can you tell us more about what you really learned?
Yeah, so I mean, just like you, when I graduated college, I was very just in the mindset of I need a next step, right? Like I didn't know where I was going. And so a little fun story. I don't know how fun this is, but I was actually not supposed to be in my master's program. I initially when I applied back in October. And this will be a good segue into like the topic I really wanted to touch on, which is like patience. When I applied for my master's program back in October of 2019, I thought I had everything ready and done. You know, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna get accepted. Like this is going to happen for me. And fast forward a couple months, and I actually got rejected, and that kind of threw my post grad plans up in the air. And I was like, you're kidding. You know, like this is what I worked so hard for. I networked so much, and it didn't work out. And in that moment, I was like, I'm not going to take no for an answer, and B, I need to figure this out because just like everyone else in like post grad, having post grad plans is so hard, right? Like all of our friends are doing different things. We're doing different things because we have different interests, and it all comes at you really fast. And so I tried and I tried again, and luckily I got in the second time around. I networked. I had to retake the GRE, which is another monster on its own. Yeah, and it was tough, and I really had to dedicate myself for the first time to achieving a goal that in my head months ago I thought I was going to achieve. You know, and that failure and that setback taught me patience, and how patience is literally the number one thing mastering at our age is so hard to do because we kind of tend to stress, and we kind of tend to want things happening quickly. As soon as we put our mind to it, we kind of want to see the expectations happen, and we want to see the successes happen. But what no one really tells you is that in that process of achieving that success, you have to really practice patience. And so for me, it was the patience of dedicating myself to hours. I used to study for the GRE 8 hours a day, April and May. And right before I took it, like I'd be doing 50 to 100 questions a day, just mind numbing work. And finally, like they were closing applications, and I resubmitted. And in June, I got accepted. And I kid you not, in all of May when I was just waiting to hear back, I had to really just practice patience, and I at that point in my life, it was really, this is gonna be end all be all because I don't have a plan B.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. And yeah, patience. When you say patience and just like waiting for a specific thing to happen, that brings
Right.
me back to senior year of college because um, when you're trying to find a job,
Mhm.
senior year, a lot of people portray it as like you do one or two interviews and then you have a job because with social media like
Yes.
LinkedIn, you only see
The highlight reel. You
the
see the
highlight
highlight
reel
reel.
of it.
Yeah.
But what people really don't get is that underneath that highlight reel is like 80 rejections under that.
Oh,
And
yeah. I can't even tell you the amount of internships I applied to last summer, and I got rejected from every single one. And the one offer I accepted, and it was my only offer, was NBC Universal, like Comcast. And I ended up at NBC last summer. And the amount of patience I had to have because all my friends were getting jobs, I knew everybody getting internships, and I was just facing rejection every single time. I wouldn't even get interviews sometimes.
same, same. It probably is the most like uh what's the word that I want to use for
It's a trying time. It's a very, like, trying and hard time,
it
right?
is.
Because then you start doubting yourself and you start doubting, "Am I even capable of this? Am I,
Exactly.
going to be successful?" But I think a lot of people our age are so obsessed with endings, right? We're so
Indeed.
obsessed with, like, "Okay, I need to, like, fast forward and get that job. I need to fast forward and just achieve all these things on my list." But what we forget is that in between all these like pursuits and all these successes we want is we also have to live in the now. Like right now, we're not going to get this time back. And just having that patience of being like, it'll all work out as it's supposed to. It's such a hard mindset to be in, but it's a mindset that's going to help let go of expectations that things don't always work out a certain way, but they work out for the absolute best.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. I catch myself today, thinking of kind of like the end goal because
Yeah,
I'm looking to get my MBA. Well, start
right.
my MBA in the fall, but all I can really think about now is like, what is life going to be after I get it? What's my position going to be with the company that I'm at? What's my salary going to be?
And
And that's when I get myself into that trap of being impatient because then I
yeah.
just want it now. Like I want it to be over with now. And I think a lot of people just jump to the end, but they don't really look at the now and like what they
Right.
have to do.
And it's like, yeah, you're going to get that MBA, you're gonna have a higher salary, you're gonna be in a better, position when you do your job, but at the same time, like, what are you hoping to gain out of that MBA, right? You're going to commit so much of your time to it. You have to think about, in that time period that I do my MBA, what am I going to get out of it? Am I going to make new friends? Am I going to learn new things, right? Instead of being obsessed with, "Okay, here's my salary, here's my job position, here's my job title," think about like look at all the things I will be achieving while I'm in that graduate program.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a part of life that people do forget because a lot of people's I feel like a lot of people's goals in life is to just get a lot of money, but they don't
Oh
really,
yeah.
but they don't really
Yeah.
consider like the amount of friends that they have really, or like or kind of like their social status at the time.
Yeah, and that's all about like practicing gratitude. Like if there's one thing I can tell you, it's that the position I'm in now where I first got rejected, then I got accepted. And the same weekend that I got accepted into my master's program, I got the call to do a living grad assistantship that basically paid for everything. The benefits are unreal. But on top of that, like now where I am now, I am pretty overwhelmed. I have 4 different leadership positions. I'm president of a student org and all these different things, but I can't tell you how thankful I am to be overwhelmed now because a year ago I was doubting myself. A year ago, I didn't even think I could get into this program, nor did I think I would get all these opportunities that I have right now. And so in mastering that patience is practicing that gratitude. Like, thank you for the position that I'm in right now because my year ago self wanted to be in this position. And because I just kept going and I kept having that patience, look at where I'm now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely do agree. I think that. Well, I think to myself a lot to this day of like, wow, if I never, it kind of trickles down to like even my childhood really of like when I
Right.
first got a job, like I think everyone should start a job at like a McDonald's or something because then you kind of learn how hard it is to make money. But
Yeah, you learn the value of money.
without starting from like the bottom and like the bottom of like the tier to like where you are now, I'm really grateful of like getting those experiences and like not taking the easy route of like, oh well, my parents got me a job here where I can just do
Right.
this and this
Exactly.
and just make money. I learned from every single experience of like how hard it is to make money and how much I hate working in fast food.
Right, and to resonate with that, like, my first job was I was scooping ice cream 7 days a week for 7.25 an hour, and I had to keep being patient because I had no work experience besides, like, helping my parents out at their Subway stores. I really had no work experience, and that was the one thing I fell back on, was helping my parents, and then I realized, like, I need to do something for myself. But with that came so many rejections because of how limited my work experience was, and it was just being patient with myself and knowing that like opportunities will come if I just keep going at it.
Yeah.
And now it's like now I'm going to a top tier company for the summer. I'm making triple what I used to make 3 summers ago. I'm making double what I used to make last summer. And so it's things like that. Like things really do work out if you just keep pushing for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree because I like the same thing happened to me. Like every like just comparing pay now versus pay back then, and
Yeah.
like how much I've grown and like how much that I've learned in life.
And how
Really,
equipped we are to deal with it, right? Like,
yeah,
we're so equipped with dealing with job rejections now because of all the 80 job rejections we've had before, right? We're so equipped with being thankful for the things that we have now because a year ago we didn't have them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And um, last year I was looking for for jobs, and I started my own like Excel sheet of like every company that I applied to and
I
how
had that
many
too.
rejections, and I'm like,
Yeah,
and
I made
now
that
I
too.
got in a new position now where I look back at it and I'm like, wow, all of the reds just lead to one green. And for me,
Oh, 100%.
I stopped at like 50. But like I can guarantee you that after that 50, I probably applied to like 100 more
Oh, yeah, if we
that
go on
heard nothing.
Handshake, yeah, if we go on Handshake, I'm pretty sure I have, like, 237 jobs I've probably applied to, and I have 19 reviewed mostly, like, 19 to 20 reviewed, and if you like, I think about it now, I really do think about it, and it's like, the more I told myself, like, things will work out, things did start working out, right? Like, it was just being in that mindset that, like, I can't control everything. What I can control is my attitude about it.
Yeah,
And so I could
exactly.
either be so negative and be like, well, I'm not going anywhere and nothing's working out for me. Or I could say, no, I'm just being redirected to what is meant for me.
Yeah, definitely.
And it really applies to our job situations right now because with COVID, like, not a lot of the job market is not as good as it used to be or anywhere close to as it used to be. So being thankful for the opportunities that do come our way is so important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, even sometimes at work now when I'm having like a bad day
Yeah.
and I'm saying like this sucks and then
Oh, same. Yeah.
and then a couple minutes later you're just thinking, well, this doesn't really suck, but I just have to be grateful
Right.
that I'm in this position where in this market right now there's not that many people. Not everyone can enjoy the action of actually working.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I mean, honestly, like when I think about it a lot, the fact that our generation really um puts everything out there on social media, right? Everything is out there for the world to see. And not everyone does it, but majority of the people that I know, even I do it. I'm such a like I'm known to post about when I go out, and I'm known to post about funny things.
Same.
But when I yeah, right, I think about it, but I don't show anyone the nights where I am working up until 1 or 2 o'clock on homework. I don't show the parts of myself where I am just having a stress breakdown because I have one too many things that I said yes to, right? Like I don't show the frustrated days where I just nothing is moving forward and I don't know a solution. We don't show those things. What you will see though is me going out to dinner with my friends, is me being elected as president, right? Like things like the highlight reel, everyone loves to show that. But when we start being authentic and honest with ourselves, we realize that a lot of the times our some of our like best moments are when we achieve something and no one's seeing it, right? Like when I get that
Hmm.
100 on my exam, like, or not even 100 sometimes, like when I even get it like an 80, I'm like proud of myself because this is like something that I achieved. And it's like you got to celebrate the small wins as much as you show the big victories.
Yeah, definitely. It's been very hard lately because social
Oh, yeah.
media does paint a very false reality of people's lives. Because right now, I see a lot of people vacationing out in Florida, and
Oh, so do I.
I'm like, wow, I'm just out here just chilling at home. But it is dangerous to keep looking at social media because it just gives you that FOMO feeling, and
Oh, 100% it does. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, I saw everyone during winter break be able to go back and spend time at their homes, and I went to my aunt's house, which is where my grandparents live there and stuff, so I don't mind going there. But I didn't get to go back to New Jersey where I'm from, and that was something I was looking so forward to because I was looking forward to seeing my family, and I saw all my hometown friends being able to go home, and I had such serious FOMO saying like I should be there, right? And like I spent Christmas alone, quarantined in my apartment in East Lansing because my one of my family members tested positive for COVID, and to be extra safe, I came in isolated by myself all throughout Christmas. And like that, no one saw that part, right? Like no one
Mhm.
saw the part of me being just completely alone on a holiday. So it's we really pick and choose what we want people to see. Um, and then it brings in the factor of how authentically are we living when we do that.
Yes, exactly. Because what I see a lot of people doing that graduated ahead of me is that they made it seem like, oh, graduation's so great. Like, you
Yeah.
have all this freedom. You can do all of this stuff. When they're just posting like one night of like actually doing something
Going at
versus,
or one trip of actually going to see their college friends, you know? And if you think about it, like if you honestly think about it that like inherently, we really want things to work out the way the picture in our head is showing us, right? Like all of us, whether you deny it or you agree to it, we all have pictures in our head of what we want our lives to look like. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I really have a picture of what my I want my life to look like.
same, same.
Yeah, right? But to be completely honest with you, this is not where I thought I would be in my life right now. This is completely not where I thought I'd be in my life right now at 23. Yes, I have a lot of accomplishments I am proud of, but when it comes to my personal life, there's so many things I think about and I'm like at 23, I thought I'd be in a relationship. At 23, I thought I'd have so many more memories with my hometown friends. Some of them I haven't seen in like 4 or 5 years right now. And it's just like at 23, I thought I would be so successful having like a full-time job and everything and going back and getting my master's later, and it's like that my life did not pan out like that at all. Nothing as what I thought it would be last year. What I thought my life would be in May is nothing how my life is right now. But I will say one thing. I genuinely appreciate why things didn't work out because now I'm seeing the bigger picture, right? Like I'm seeing why I didn't get a full-time job. All the jobs I applied to coming out of undergrad, not one of them gave me an offer. but it led me to getting into the master's programs of my dream. Like, I love my program so much. I love what I study. I have so many opportunities. And so and the people that I met through my program and through my grad assistantship, like, I couldn't imagine a life without any of this.
Hmm.
And I think the need to control is so heavy in our lives at this age because we want things to work out a certain way. But when we let go of that control and when we just let life evolve, it's I guarantee you it turns out better than you would expect it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. If I like now that you're saying that, like if I actually like when I was still in college of like just not letting things go out of like how they were supposed to go, I couldn't
We wouldn't be
imagine.
in this
Yeah,
position.
honestly, like I think about like what could have changed, and I'm pretty happy that I didn't really change anything because
Me
if
too.
I did take control and did something, I feel like I wouldn't have come out as like knowledgeable and like as wise as I am now. I feel like I wouldn't be been happier either because probably would have forced some things that weren't naturally supposed to be like, well,
Happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And honestly, like, I will say one thing. Um One of the biggest things I've been realizing, and it's something that I reflect on a lot, is that the people that have come into my life, because I'm in this master's program, because I have this grad assistantship and all these other positions I hold, like, the people that I have met that have truly impacted my life and that I think about all the time, that I go to, that know some of my darkest days and they know some of my best days, and the people who, I might not be as close with as I used to in the fall semester, just because of different changes, but all of those things that I've experienced with these people in my life currently, I would never change it for a thing. Like, all the time I spent with everyone currently in my life, whether distant or super close, where I see you on a daily basis or we just talk here and there, I wouldn't trade that for a single thing because I learn from every single person. And honestly, if I had a full-time job and I wasn't back in my master's or any of that, I don't like I can't even imagine what that would look like because I'm so grateful for who I have now, who I had in the fall semester, and like all those things. Like, I'm just so grateful for that.
yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. Now, a question that I have for you: do you consider yourself having a close, small group of people, or would you
Yeah.
rather have a lot of
Yeah.
people that you talk to but aren't really close with?
So I have both right now. So I had yeah, funny thing is I have both. I have my small core people who I call my home team. And my home team essentially is made up of some of my best friends from undergrad, some of my best friends from high school as well, because I do keep in touch with some of them, and my one or two mentors, and one of the few grads that I'm close with through my grad assistantship. And these are the people that know what goes on in my life, all the highs, the lows, my commitments, that I'm doing. Like, these are the people I talk to on a daily basis, right? Like, these are the people I call up when I'm having a terrible day, when things are just hitting the fan. These are the people I call up, right? And they know everything that's going on, and their sound advice is something I always listen to. And I might not always follow it because I mean, as humans, we don't always follow what people tell us, but I do listen. They're core people I go to. But then I also have the people that I keep in touch with here and there, tell them the good things that are going on, don't really touch on the lows because, we're not close like that. And I will always say I would 100% want a core group of people that I'm super close with than some friends here and there that I know and we just talk when it's convenient. I'll always go for the home team.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing in our generation today of just like wanting to know a lot of people, and some people get lost in that, and the idea that it's better to probably have like a small tight group of people instead of like being basically like a celebrity where you're getting text messages up the wazoo all day every single day.
Oh, yeah, like, I mean, to be a like To be honest with you, there's only 4 or 5 people that I text on a daily basis, if that, like, e probably 1 or 3 people I text, like, throughout the day consistently, and, um, there are probably 1 or 2 people that I FaceTime and call on a weekly basis. That's kind of it, and I'm so good with that. I think one of the biggest mentalities I'm trying to implement is the less that people know, the better.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that one. I
And
try
I
to.
do put my accomplishments out there, and I do talk about them, but sometimes the less that people know, it could be a little bit better, right? Like you get to celebrate those victories with people who genuinely are happy for you.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I couldn't
Because
imagine
it's
sharing
hard.
all of my accomplishments on like Instagram or something
Oh, I
because
couldn't ever.
the internet's a wild place. So it it could honestly just take one person to just say something negative and ruin your whole entire accomplishment.
Right, and it's like one of the things I've thought about recently is when I go do my internship, I see on LinkedIn everybody makes those posts like here's where I'm interning for the summer. I've thought like I did it last year. I did it on Facebook. I was like, everyone, I'm going to NBC Universal Comcast, like, and I was super proud of that. And I was also super thankful because that was the only internship I applied and got after so many rounds of interviews. So I was really just proud of myself for that one. But this summer, I mean, I'm so proud of where I'm going. But I've just like I've been telling people that are close to me, and I've been telling people if they ask me, but I haven't made that LinkedIn post because it's not that I don't want to, it's just I told the people that matter to me, right? And that is enough for me. My LinkedIn network, I'll tell them when I start, but I really just wanted to celebrate that accomplishment with my close circle and people who are genuinely happy and people who helped me get to that point. Yeah. No, I don't know anyone like that either. I know yeah. Oh, for sure. I know Yeah, and I know people who say, "Oh, well, I only got like 100 likes on my Instagram." And I'm like, "Do you like that picture? If you like that picture, that's all that matters. Who
Oh my
cares if,
god, yes.
100 less people didn't like it, right?" Like on my Snapchat, my Instagram, like I just post what I think is funny or cool or like when I look good and stuff. Like that's what I post. Um if I get like 50 likes or if I get 200, as long as I'm, like, hee-heeing at it, that's all that I care about, right? Like, as long as I think it's funny, as long as I think I look good, honestly, who cares if, like, Lisa down the street thinks it looks good or not, right?
Yeah.
That's what's important to me will stay important to me regardless if it's important to anybody else or not.
Yeah, and I think that the big thing that slows people down in life, I feel like, is to trying to just to appeal to everyone and just make everyone their biggest
I've
supporter.
been guilty of that.
Yeah,
I will
I've
say,
definitely
like,
been guilty of
yeah,
that, and I can't tell you how good it felt. Like after I just kind
it's
of realized it
liberating.
to
It's a
myself,
liberating feeling.
and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post this, no filter, or
Yeah.
I don't care about the angle that I take this photo. I think it's a good
Oh,
photo,
yeah.
and it just feels so relieving just to like live life of just of like knowing that you're doing stuff for yourself and you're doing stuff what you enjoyed and not trying to post like a false image on social media just so you can fit in with everyone's false reality.
I can't agree with you more. Like in my living room, if people come over, I have a bookshelf and I frame pictures and I have two of my selfies up there. One is just me looking like with like a towel over my head when when I was on vacation. One is just like another selfie of myself and it's like everyone who walks in goes, "That's really funny that you framed that." And I was like, if I like it and I love myself in that picture, it's going up on the wall.
As you should
As
love
yeah, as I
yourself.
should. Like that's authentically me, and that's what's authentically going to go up. And it's just the amount of like confidence in being who you authentically are and showing up as that, that's what matters, right? And so when you try to change and dictate who you want to be and who you are to appease and please others, you kind of lose a sense of self, right? You lose a sense of authenticity. And so my biggest year, like, or my biggest goal this year was like I really want to make friends. I don't know anybody in REHS, like my grad assistantship. Don't know anyone really in my program, but I realized like being this like awkward, funny clown that I am, and that's who I am, and I'm just like fun and I have a lot of energy and all that. Like that's how I'm going to show up. If people like me, great. If they don't, what am I supposed to do about it?
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's hard to show up like that because sometimes I don't always show up like that, but I try as much as I can to be authentically myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to like for me it's just a lot of like reading the room really,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you
yeah.
like you just give them like a little sample and just see how they react to it, and then just kind of go off from there, like,
Yeah.
okay, can I really vibe with these people, like are they, like, do they like me for
Are they
me?
going to be accepting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if I find that they're not accepting, then I'm just not gonna, like, I gave them like a little sample of like what they can really expect
Right.
from me. So if they don't accept it, then there's a lot of people out there that can fill your shoes.
That are I can't agree with you more. Like, if certain people don't like you, and if certain people don't like the way you react to things or your mindset and stuff, and how you're going about living your life, that's okay. Because there is going to be people that do. There's going to be people in your corner that will tell you how it is and tell you when, your behavior was kind of off and like you shouldn't have reacted like that. Like, you'll have those people, but you'll have those people who tell it to you in a manner that's understanding and that's saying like you're not a bad person for saying X, Y, and Z. You're not a bad person for doing X, Y, and Z. The way you approach doing X, Y, and Z is how you should change things, right? Like though like constructive criticism of who you are, I welcome that more than attacks.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
it's
that's how you grow as a person.
yeah, it just depends how you just have to word it really
Oh
well.
yeah, you have to word it and and it's also a personal thing, right? Like not everyone is open to constructive criticism. Not everyone is open to changing and growth. Um but the ones that are, they take that into account and they really change with that. So,
It's
yeah.
just kind of how you react in life to it.
I mean, like I said before we started this podcast, right? Like I always think of life as 90% of how you react to the 10% that happens to you in life.
That's such an HR thing to
I
say.
know
I
that's
feel
such an
like
HR thing to say.
whenever I think of that,
I
I'm just
picked
like
the right field,
HR.
huh? I picked the right field
Oh
though.
yeah,
Um, no, I mean like in HR we work with people and so when things hit the fan and someone's not happy, like how am I going to react to this? How are we going to deal with it, right? And so that mindset kind of transcends into all other parts of my life.
yeah.
Besides the whole managing thing, I mean like to be completely honest with you, I might look like I have it all together, but to be 100% honest, like, I have a hard time managing everything I do.
I don't blame you.
All
That
these
sounds like a headache and a
yeah.
half to me.
Yeah, right? Like, I have if you saw my desk right now, there's Post-it notes everywhere, like, "Email this person, follow up with this person, send in a request to our associate director for this," and, like, it's a lot, and, it looks like I have it all together, but truly, I'm surviving, I'm hanging in there, like, doing the best I can, and I think doing your best is what anyone should or can ask of you.
Yeah, yeah, and as long as I mean, like, that's kind of like a lot of people's lives too. Like, not everyone has it figured out, and that's okay. That's okay. Just
I haven't met one person that has it figured out. I really haven't met one person that has it figured out. Some way or somehow in an aspect of their life, they're figuring it out, right? Like
yeah,
their career might be settled, but they're figuring out their personal life. Their personal life might be settled, but they're trying to figure out their career. Or they're trying to figure out their career and their personal life. You know, like that's me right now. As much as I'm trying to like figure out my life, like I'm trying to figure it out generally. Like what are my next steps, you know, as the end of the semester comes, what am I going to do next? And for someone who has to plan because of my all my responsibilities, I really haven't planned the next step of my life out after the first year of grad school ends. Like, yeah, I'm going to an internship, but I have some time in between. And besides like a couple of trips, I don't know what I'll be doing, to be honest with you. I'm kind of just taking life as it comes.
Yeah, I was gonna say just
Ride the waves.
ride the wave of
Listen,
life.
there's two things that I've learned. You have two choices in life. You either lean with it or you rock with it. And right now, I'm just trying to lean with it. I
That's a
always
very good
say that.
saying.
In everything that happens in my life, like the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the good things that work out and the things that don't work out, I always say, how am I going to react to this? Am I going to lean with it or am I going to rock with it? And as the end of the semester approaches, I'm just saying, we're going to lean with this right now. We'll rock with it over the summer, but right now, let's just lean with it.
That's a very good saying. That's a very good mantra for life. I think
It helps, it keeps
everyone.
me grounded. It
Yeah,
keeps
I
me
was gonna
realize,
say
like, what's important, what deserves my energy, and if it does deserve my energy, how am I going to go about it?
we are running on that little sweet spot of the time. But thank you so much for coming on to the
Thank
show.
you for having me.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. I've definitely learned a lot from you, and it was good
Same.
to talk to
You as
someone
well.
who actually kind of like sees the ugliness in life and is willing to talk about it, and like just seeing what we can learn from it really too.
Being open and honest, I think, is truly the best thing. I mean, it's hard to do it, but it is very, very important. Like I have no filter. I think we can all hear from this podcast. I have no filter, but I think being open and honest, I always say they'll get me further than being super closed off and hiding parts.
Is there any social medias or anything that you want to plug?
Honestly, I mean, if you just Google my name on Instagram, like like search my name on Instagram or LinkedIn, go for it. I'm not really uh public on anything, but if people want to connect with me, that's up to them. So no, I'm not going to plug myself. I think just the only thing, if I can plug, it's that life happens, and if there's one advice I can give, is you just got to keep swimming. And I got that from Finding Nemo, but it's something that I tell myself all the time, like life happens, you just got to keep going.
I love it because at the end of the road, it's always going to be sunshine. Just
Yeah, at
gotta
the end of
swim
the
through the
road,
darkness.
like I said before, you lean with it or you rock with it, and we're going to do either or.
It's an amazing uh, closing
I'm glad.
statement. But thanks so much, Neha, for coming on to the
Thank you for having
podcast.
me.
And you guys can
Thank
find
you.
this. Go check out moreyouKnowPodcast.com to check it all out. That is where I'm going to be posting everything along with some show notes and for any links of anything that we mentioned in this podcast. Basically, it's just for you to get more information of all the stuff that we talk about on the show. So go check it out, subscribe, and then you'll get notified every time that a new episode comes out. All right, and that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this show of The More You Know. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating this podcast on Apple Podcasts. It'll certainly help me out in the algorithm, and be sure to subscribe or follow to The More You Know on your favorite podcasting platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. And lastly, if you would like to contribute to The More You Know, you can head over to anchor.fm// The More You Know Pod and contribute any monetary value to help the quality of the show, and in the future bring on some more interesting guests. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of my listeners, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week.